So hello, everyone. Welcome to LISC Foot Locker Foundation Community Empowerment Programs Informational Webinar. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your interest in our program. My name is Crystal Hunter, and I'm the Senior Program Officer with LISC Sports and Recreation Department, and I will be one of the hosts for today's webinar. Also, to add, everyone's been muted, so please stay muted so that we could get through the webinar without any interruptions. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to put them in the Q&A chat that is below, and we will answer your questions during our Q&A session, which will be at the end of the webinar. Next slide. Okay, so what is the LISC Foot Locker Community Empowerment Program? So this program is a partnership of the Foot Locker Foundation and the Local Initiative Support Corporation that's focused on a multi-city initiative to support community and youth empowerment in under-resourced communities where Foot Locker's teams live, grow, and work. The program aims to bridge gaps in health, wealth, and community. So the program offers two levels of funding. The first level of funding is $25,000 to $75,000 over 1 year to support either current youth programming, to create new programming, or to extend existing programming. And we also offer $25,000 to $100,000 over 1 year to support capital improvement projects that enhance the impact of youth programming. And funding, as I mentioned, will range from $25,000 to $100,000. Some examples of capital improvement projects would be a STEM lab, dance studio, technology room or lab, computer lab, workshop, spaces, etc. The proposed outcomes are to build on Foot Locker and LISC's shared goals to inspire and empower youth, and will be focused on the 14 metropolitan areas where Foot Locker and LISC have a significant presence. Okay, so to be eligible to qualify for funding, organizations must meet the eligibility criteria. And that criteria consists of being a community-based organization serving a neighborhood consisting primarily of low to moderate income family and individuals, have at least one paid full-time staff person focused on youth programming. So therefore, all volunteer organizations will not be considered. You have to be in existence for at least 3 years, have an annual revenue of $5 million or less, have a proven track record in youth programming, operations, or facilities management. You must have a 501c3 tax exempt status and be located in one of the 14 programs target markets. Next slide. Okay, so again, only organizations serving communities in low to moderate income areas within the 14 target markets are eligible to apply and will be considered for funding. Those markets consist of Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Detroit, Michigan, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, California, New York City, New York, Newark, New Jersey, Oakland, California, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, San Francisco, California, Tampa, Florida, including areas of Pinellas County, Clearwater, Florida, and St. Petersburg, Florida, as well as Washington, D.C. Next slide. Additionally, we will prioritize organizations that have demonstrated a track record of success in one or more of the 3 pillars. Those pillars consist of community outreach. These are programs that are designed to engage local youth and provide them with health and wellness opportunities, including increased safety, play equality, equity, empowerment of youth, and expanding economic opportunity. The second pillar is mentoring, and these are programs that are designed to help youth with conflict resolution, life skills, academics, and community building. The goals may include building positive, nonviolent, and constructive relationships, increasing the ability to accept and respect diversity of opinions and values in the community, and building trust. And the third pillar is community development employability, And these are programs that develop skills and pathways to equality employment opportunities. And goals may include increasing social and work skills, access to internships and training. And to note, play equity is the idea that all youth, regardless of race, gender, zip code, or income, should benefit from the transformational power of sports and play. Next slide. And I will turn this over to our program officer, Onido Luis.
Thank you, Crystal. So kind of continuing on, we'll speak to the feasibility of the proposed project. So the project must be based upon realistic costs, meaning, is the amount of money that you are kind of requesting from your proposal, does that match what you're, trying to accomplish in your project? Project readiness, sources of funding for the entire budget should be identified. Plans should consider the schedule of activities over the course of the year. A project timeline should be specified in the application. Impact upon neighborhood and support from the community. So applications must demonstrate that the project is located in a low to moderate income community and must describe how the grant would benefit the youth and larger community. Applications must clearly detail how many youth and adults will benefit from current programming, activity, or the facility and project if you're doing a capital improvement project, any anticipated increases as a result of the Foot Locker grant. Program sustainability. Applications must demonstrate commitments of funding for programming and facility sustainability for a minimum of 3 years. Capacity of organization and its partners to carry out the project, including ability to collaborate with Foot Locker on employee engagement opportunities. The applicant organization must demonstrate through its current management team and previous experience the ability to manage a project of this nature. Next slide, please. So Foot Locker employee engagement. Grantees will work directly with Foot Locker to provide employee engagement opportunities for Foot Locker staff that align with the goals of this grant. Opportunities should comply with both organizations' legal, professional, public health, and youth-related protocols. So examples, interactions with youth may require, a background check. Examples of employee engagement include, but are not limited to, the following. Foot Locker employee participation in non-technical tasks like mural painting, community or facility cleanup, packing and facilitating giveaway items, examples, backpacks and school supplies. Foot Locker employee collaborations on holiday-related initiatives such as food collection, donation, giveaways, examples, giving away coats, shoes, Christmas trees, gifts, or other resources. Foot Locker employee facilitation of training sessions, mentoring, or career coaching. For example, sneaker career day, or a program series with speakers from across job functions like store or the district manager, sneaker designer, graphic artist, marketer, merchandise, IT, finance, human resources. Foot Locker hosted events or in-store learning at Foot Locker community store spaces. Next slide. So applications procedures. To submit an application, you'll click on the link that will be, I think, hyperlinked both in this presentation, which will be shared after this presentation, and is also available online. Use of Foot Locker, LEED, or LISC logos are prohibited. Interested organizations must submit an application by September 30th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The required documents that should be included in your applications are a cover sheet, one page with your organization's name, address, web address, email, telephone number, name, contact information for executive director and contact person if different, brief description of proposed project and the amount of funding requested. And all of this is also listed in the application. Project attachments, a project budget for programming or facility improvements, and then organizational attachments, your IRS 501c3 determination letter, your IRS W-9 form, and an MOU if you are a fiscal agent or working with a fiscal agent. Make sure to include that. And this is what you'll need to submit your application. But please note, should your application be identified as a potential or prospective grantee, you'll need to provide additional information to LISC upon request. This information includes, but not be limited to, the following: audited financial statements for at least 2 years, your organization's most recent 990 form, any relevant memorandum of understanding, example, with your fiscal agent, property owners, service providers, financial contributors, etc., joint use agreements with other community organizations, letters of support, or similar documentation. And finally, if you have received funding in a previous round of the LISC Foot Locker Community Empowerment Grant, please make sure to indicate that in your application. Next slide. This is the LISC Sports and Rec Department contact information. You'll have all of the listed team members along with their emails. You can feel free to reach out to us individually, or you can reach out to the kind of general sports and rec email, which you'll receive when you receive this presentation along with any follow-up stuff. And next slide. And now we'll transition over to our question and answer period. And so just a quick reminder, if you do have any questions, make sure to just include them in the Q&A box, and we'll, get to them. And I'll transition this over to our Vice President, Beverly Smith.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita and Crystal. And thank you everyone for joining. So I'm looking at the questions, and so there's an anonymous attendee who's saying, when talking about an organizational budget, do you consider the cash budget or the in-kind? We have a $30 million budget, but only 2 to 3 in cash income. Most is in-kind. I guess we want to see the budget that will cover your staff that's actually going to be managing the grant and the program. So I think that is what we really want to have you include in the application. Then there's another question saying that regarding the requirement of the budget being 5 million or less, our organization has several chapters, including one in Oakland where we are located, and what we apply for our Oakland budget is much less than 5 million, but our overall organization's budget is over 5 million. If you are applying for your Oakland location and you have a separate budget, that would be the budget that we would want to see, the budget for the actual location, and how that is funded. How are you determining if an organization serves low to moderate income areas, if the organization operates citywide, or are you going off the addresses we operate programs? Specifically where the program is being operated is the first consideration that we are going to want to see. And then in terms of low to moderate income communities, our general number that we look at is, and just to make it easier for grantees, is what is the percentage of youth that qualify for free or reduced lunch within the community in the neighborhood that you're actually serving and running the program. And we look at 30% as the minimum. Hi, is the greater Newark area, because we are in Elizabeth. I'm almost certain that it is just within Newark, but if you reach out to us separately, we can check that and we will come back to you. For Washington, D.C., does this include the metro area like Northern Virginia? No, just Washington, D.C. Hi there, how do you define moderate to income? Low to moderate, as I said, what we're looking at is what is the percentage of youth within your community, and you can get this easily from your school district that qualify for free or reduced lunch, and we're looking at 30% or more. What age group do you consider youth? Sorry, anywhere from 6 years old, I would say, to 24 years old. What are a part of the national organization with an annual operating budget larger than 5 million? However, our local budget is under 1 million. Can we apply? Yes, but you need to specify in your application your budget for your local program, so that we can see that that it is under $5 million. And are you the local program applying, or is the larger program applying? That needs to be specified within your application. If we are a community organization with less than $5 million in annual revenue, but we use a fiscal sponsor organization, which has annual income above 5 million, are we eligible? Yes, but you need to show the budget for your organization, and we need to see a memorandum of understanding between you and the fiscal conduit that you will be using, outlining the roles and the responsibilities. If we are a statewide organization with 4 different programs in 4 different cities and an overall revenue of 5 million split between our programs, are we eligible to apply? We will be looking at the specific program that you are applying to and would be asking for the budget for that specific program, and it needs to be under 5 million. Hi there, thank you for the info. I have a question on behalf of our organization. We are eligible for all of your criteria, but I have questions about the criteria that I'm not sure of our qualification. We support San Francisco Bay Area students and families, but they do not live in the city of San Francisco. Most of them live in the Bay Area, north of the Golden Gate Bridge. Will we qualify? That is something we would need to look into, and you would have to specify the specific neighborhoods. I see the question above about LA County. Is the within 20 miles of the city answer applicable to all cities on the list? I think we can consider that, but as I said, it's going to depend individually on what area you're specifically applying to, and it needs to be captured in your application, and we will review it. Will you pay the grant writer a percentage of the grant we may receive? We don't pay your grant writers. We are giving grants to the actual youth programming. And the only amounts that are allowed to be paid out beyond the actual programming activities are stipends to youth. In terms of your responsibilities with your grant writers, that is your responsibility to pay them, and it cannot come out of our grant. Is ability considered as a part of play equity as well? Yes. Does the program support capital projects to build athletic fields, walking paths, and makerspace, a playground, in a community center in one of your target markets? We would build the space to be filled with youth programming, but no programming has happened yet. You will need to demonstrate that there's actually going to be programming in the space, and that youth programming exists in order to qualify. Would a nonprofit organization be eligible to partner with a different 501c3 nonprofit that has a focus on youth programming? Yes, but there will need to be a memorandum of understanding between both of the entities and what the roles and responsibilities will be, and that should be included. Can you address why you have included the requirement of 5 million or less? Organizations larger than 5 are under great threats at the moment, especially organizations that have multiple program versus specific type of program, which would fit as a smaller. We look at 5 million or less because those are the ones that we view as being in great need. So that, and we understand that larger organizations are struggling. So that can only, you know, that should only elevate how the smaller programs that are really in need of help are struggling for finances as well. So we're looking at 5 million or less. No, the project does not, there's a question about, does the project need to be related specifically to athletic activities? No, but it can be to civic engagement and education as well as athletic facility activities for youth. I have a question about a group that says they do not have audited financials. They do file 990s and maintain strong internal controls, board-approved financials, budget to actuals. The FAQ suggests partnering with another nonprofit, but will we still be eligible to apply without a fiscal sponsor if we submit complete financial documentation, but without audited financials? You can apply, but I can tell you because of the many numerous applications that we receive every year for this program, those submissions that meet all of the requirements and have all of the documents that are required will score higher. Does Philadelphia mean greater Philadelphia area or Philadelphia County or city? I would say the greater Philadelphia area. And as we said, 20 miles outside of Philadelphia or any of the areas that are listed in the target market will be considered. Organizations in New York City also bilocated for Brooklyn youth with programming in upstate New York, still eligible. No, we are not doing projects in upstate New York. The New York City market is relegated to the 5 boroughs. If we received a grant in the past, are we still eligible? Yes, you are eligible to apply, and please note in your application that you have received a grant in a prior round. Would it be undesirable if the process of mentoring requires interview, application, drug tests, background checks in order for employees to be involved in programming? In mentoring, we want to have those security issues in place for the safety, not only of the youth being served, but of those providing the services to youth. So I would think, and particularly where Foot Locker is concerned on the employee engagement side of it, we want to know that those systems are in place and that those individuals that are interacting with youth and everything have been vetted. You can upload, asking if they don't have audited financial statements, but you can upload your board-approved financial statements, but audited financial statements are a threshold requirement. We can look at it, we can review it, but as I said, we get so many applications per year. Those that meet all of the requirements of the application process are the ones that are going to be strongly considered. If the organization's operating budget is over 5 million, but less than 10 million, does that automatically disqualify them? Yes, we are looking for organizations with budgets of under 5 million. We are a national organization with revenue of more than 5 million, but our local site is in an eligible area and has revenue less than 5 million. Then we would need to see the budget for that specific site. And the financials for that specific site. let's see, will previous grantees be prioritized for this round of funding? We will review all grantees, and certainly we will look at the previous grantees in terms of the work that they've done from the funding in the prior round, and what their I don't want to say KPIs, but what their impact has been and what the need is. So yeah, we will definitely be reviewing prior grantees. We are currently operating in our third year. Are we eligible to apply this year? Yes, you can apply as long as you meet all of the threshold requirements. If you have a fiscal agent, does the fiscal agent have to have one staff member dedicated to youth programming? We need to know that there is one staff member that is dedicated to managing the grant process and the programming for the youth. There was a question asking about how many applicants were there last year. There were over 1,200 applicants last year, and we don't know how many we're going to get this year. The organization budget is barely over the $5 million cap. Would we still be eligible? No, we are not considering applications with budgets over $5 million. As I said, budgets 5 million and less are what will be considered. I see that's a question. We have previously applied for Foot Locker Foundation grant, but were not awarded. Is there a way to give feedback prior to submitting this application? I don't know that we are going to go back and look at previous applications. What you can do is mention in your application that you have applied and were denied in a previous round. And in terms of anything that has changed in your organization since you last applied, if you would really note that in your application, we can review it. Can we request multiple year funding, and what is the maximum amount? No, because we don't know that there's going to be funding for multiple years. We are looking for this year, 2025, and the programming that you will be implementing in your community. So the funding is for 1 year. And I would say that if you have specific questions regarding your actual markets, you can hit us up in sportsandrec@lisc.org, and we can answer those questions so that we can really move through, because every question regarding a target market is going to be different in the geographies. And for those organizations that are national and have independent sites, we would want to see the documentation related to those independent sites regarding the financials, the programming, what is being done in the actual and the budget for the individual site that you're applying for. There's a question about whether staff salaries are included. No, the goal of the grant is to provide funding for the specific programming items, whether it's materials, whether equipment, whatever is needed. And as I said, the only in terms of salary that we will consider in your application is if stipends are being awarded to youth who participated in the program. So youth stipends are considered. How does the Foot Locker employee engagement work? It says, do we reach out to the closest Foot Locker store to our organization to get employees to engage with our programming? If you are awarded, yes, you will be connected to the Foot Locker will connect you to their employees and their groups on the ground that will engage with you. And you can determine through that how they can engage. What I would say to you is in your application, if you can just highlight any opportunities that your organization can provide to engage with Foot Locker employees. And as I said, that is if awarded, you will be contacted by a Foot Locker representative. There's a question about if you're using a fiscal agent and are awarded as the fiscal agent that will submit further financial information. Yes, we will need the budget for the program itself. And then we will need the financials of the fiscal agent. We'll be reviewing the grant. Will the process look like? Our team here at Sports and Rec will be reviewing the grant, as well as Foot Locker, members of the Foot Locker team. So we will all be reviewing and evaluating the process. And Foot Locker, just so you know, will have the final say on in terms of what we're able to fund based on our recommendations. It says, is being a previous beneficiary a disqualifying factor? No, we just want you to note in your application if you've received funding from the program in a past round. And as I said, if there are specific questions to your actual programming, if you could follow up with us in our email at sportsandrec@lisc.court, we can answer those questions regarding your specific program. Just looking. See a lot of questions about the $5 million budget. And as I said, 5 million or less is what will be considered. And staff salaries are not an allowed expense. Stipends for youth is what will be considered and approved. I think we've covered most of the general questions. And what I would say is that if you have additional questions specific to your project, again, please reach out to us separately. This presentation will be sent to everyone, and you'll get the recording and the PowerPoint. And if you have any questions, again, reach out to our team and we can, and I would just suggest that you carefully read the application and consider your answers to the information that's being asked for. Other than that, as I said, thank you all for participating. And if there are, like I said, specific questions regarding your project, just reach out to us. And we look forward to seeing your applications.